said began, your
Yeah.
journey to Microsoft. I remember in those early days when, we met at Collab. I knew you were taking like a course in data science or so, and you looked
Yeah.
like you were very dedicated to it. And, fast forward to like last year, I'm asking, hey, where's Messi? Like, she's missing in action. And they're like, hello, are you in this world? Messi moved on. I was really, where? And they're like, Microsoft. And I'm like, interesting. So tell us this journey to Microsoft. How did it all begin?
Like the, I think the Microsoft, like me ending up in Microsoft is, um, if I was to trace it back, I would say me being at Collab around the time I got to Collab was very pivotal in me ending up in Microsoft. And why I
Mm-hmm.
say this is because without Sanusi sending me the job opening and saying, okay, you should apply, I don't think I would have even known about it or even bothered to apply, because then I was in data science and it was a software engineering role. It wasn't
Wow.
something I was intending to transition into. So just having that, I guess someone believing that you can actually do something before you even believe it yourself,
Mm.
was very pivotal to me ending up here. But for like the collab journey and how all of that started, I guess I'll trace that back to maybe 2017. I was almost about to graduate. It was the Christmas of my last year in school.
Wow.
And I went to collab for a meetup and I met Robert John. I don't know if you know
Mm-hmm.
Robert,
Very well, I
but
do.
Robert was hosting a class then, was on artificial intelligence. It was one of the
Mm.
Facebook DevC
Mm.
meetups, and it was just so interesting. And I just made that mental note that this was one of the things I would look into when I finished school, because I was at that point of writing project and I just wanted to get it done with. So I didn't really have time for any other thing outside of do your projects, don't fail any paper so you don't get an extra year, and just finish this school and never return. So that was basically the head state. I think my greatest fear at that point was not finishing well. But yeah, after school, I had some time before NYC. So that was basically the time that I started going to collab daily. And I basically took it like a full-time job, to be honest. I would go there um, from say 8 a.m. to about maybe 6, 7. And
Wow.
now that you mentioned my dad getting me data and stuff, not
Mm.
really, to be honest. So Collab is free for women who are developers, or women who are into tech.
Okay.
So yeah, so there was that collab internet thingy that was available to me. But for the most part, to be honest, I basically just use my allowance to buy data, because when you're using the Wi-Fi with so many other people, you don't get as fast speeds as you'd want to. And
Mm.
like I knew that I wanted I basically had like a lot of stuff to do, and I didn't want the internet issues to frustrate me. So I was getting data for myself. But the good thing was that I didn't have to pay to use Collab space. So
Wow.
my mega savings that I had at that point was basically all for data. Like I spent my entire savings from when I was in school, from what I was able to save as a student. Most of it went into data. Like I didn't even spend
Wow.
on transport, because I had a bicycle that I was riding to Collab
I
every day. So
remember. In
that's how I was
fact, I told someone about it today. I said,
able.
yeah, if you mention Messi, the first thing I'll remember is that bicycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was basically how I was able to hack the whole, because like one of the difficult things is like when starting out is and this one is not just specific to girls, like even guys to experience it, cost of data
Yeah.
can be insane. Getting access to a space that gives you electricity, that is
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of even just transport to get to that space. So those are like things that sometimes people don't really have solutions for how to answer them, because it's either you have it or you don't have it.
So like how much
So
data
you
would you say
have
you were using a month? You know.
I honestly can't estimate what I was using in the earlier days, but I know that by the time I had gotten a job, that was like 7, 8 months after I had started going to collab. That's when I got my job as data scientist. At that point, I was able to afford like bigger data plans. So I just got myself a router and I paid for a year's subscription on that.
Because you know why I
But
ask,
like,
one of the challenges, okay, sorry, one of the
yeah.
challenges I know that girls face in terms of learning digital skills is access to
Mhm.
data. Another one is
Yeah.
access to even the devices. Another one is access to the knowledge, access to the space, like
Yeah.
you spoke about. So thankfully, I'm just knowing that Collab is free for women who are developers. But before you continue, would you be nice enough to tell us what course you studied in school and how it had any influence on your journey to Microsoft?
I studied civil engineering,
Oh,
and I don't know
wow.
if it had any influence outside of the fact that I was determined not to practice it. Um, so it's basically like if you have either this option or this option, you try so hard not to make this option your default option.
Wow.
So that was like one of my motivating factors to just keep putting in the work because I'm like, if I fail at this, then I'd have to go to a construction site to work. And I had done that before and I didn't like it. So I was like, nah, I, I can't go back to doing this.
Wow. So what's
Yeah.
your role again? You talked about it, I think, when you're talking about how when you got the link to apply for the job. So what is it you do at Microsoft at the moment?
Okay. So at Microsoft, I work as a software engineer on the mixed reality team. So the mixed
Mm-hmm.
reality team is basically we call ourselves a team of superstars. It's a at
Nice.
least internally. So we're
No,
basically
externally
trying
too.
trying trying to build or we're building Microsoft's metaverse. That's like the
Mm.
primary thing that we do as a team. There are other products that are not as tied to the metaverse, but like um the primary focus is probably for the part of the team that I work on, which is called Microsoft Mesh, is building the pieces on a day-to-day usually involve things that have to do with building the backend services for like the backend services for the metaverse. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say backend service for the metaverse, I mean like the platform itself. Like imagine um I don't want to use a Facebook example, but imagine something like
Why?
Microsoft Teams. I mean, we
Yeah.
are competitors. Imagine something like a Microsoft,
Yeah.
like a Microsoft Teams that has, I don't know if it's a big, yeah, that has something like a calling feature. So think of the calling feature as just a service that handles calls, and then maybe something like how you would share files. That would also be its own separate service. So for the metaverse, the kinds of services that are involved, there can be something that represents your digital self. We call that avatars. So
Yeah.
how you're able to show up in a digital space. It's usually something animated that kind of looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's able to interact, have emotions, talk, and stuff like that. Some of the other services can be maybe how can we have a catalog of things that people can buy and purchase and then they own in metaverse. So there are a
Mm.
bunch of different things like this that all work together to make up this metaverse. Um, yeah,
Okay.
that's like
Interesting.
the work I do.
Sounds interesting. I have an idea of what the metaverse looks like, but yeah, it's actually fun to hear from you. So on a final note, as I begin to wrap up, because I know I told you I wasn't going to keep you past 30 minutes, and I know you're a very busy person.
Yeah.
This conversation is hopefully going to be on YouTube. We'll have it on, like in a podcast and all of that. just to encourage, girls. Like I said, it's just to, celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. What will be your advice to girls who are intending to go into tech, or um, girls who are already in tech? What will be your encouragement for them? As you speak into that, I think you could also do some justice to some of the barriers you had faced, if any. There were any barriers, that you could relate with, and how you now encourage
Yeah.
girls to, stay committed and dedicated to pursuing their dreams in tech and end up, they might not end up in Microsoft like you, but they could end up building very, interesting and very good stuff. So,
Yeah. For me, I would say most of the barriers I faced were internal. My internal, I mean, like just mental stuff, like being able to believe that, not just believe, but like actually keep on putting in the work to just keep moving forward. Because, like, and tech is not the only difficult field, but for someone who might be coming from a totally like unrelated, like something that isn't like you didn't go to school to learn this,
yeah.
you don't have a background in it, it can be a little bit more difficult for you to get even started. So just keeping at it was like one of the more difficult things. But I guess being in a community helped me because even when it felt like personally hard, and I would turn just maybe next to me, and then I'll see someone who is it's like another reason to keep going at it. And another thing is that like the more you do it, the better it gets, no matter how small the increment can be. But the thing about persisting is that you would usually see progress, no matter how little it is, and that progress helps you tomorrow to do like to make more progress. So
Mm,
maybe the progress was just one step today, and from that one step, someone asked you a question, and you were able to help answer that question. Um, One of the things you take out from that is that you now have basically it's a confidence booster that you actually know this one little thing, and because you know this one little thing, you're more convinced in yourself that you can learn this next thing. So the more you move forward, the more like the further you can get. I don't know if this makes sense,
very well.
but
The
it
more you
can
move
it can
forward, the
feel
further you can
very
get. Definitely.
it can feel very difficult. It can feel like this is the hardest thing you've done. Like almost every day, the things I work on feels like the hardest thing I've done, if I'm being honest
Mm,
with myself, because
mm.
I usually work on new things per time. So when you think back at yesterday and how yesterday, that was a difficult thing you did yesterday, and then today you're working on something even more difficult, the more you do that, the more you realize that, okay, it might be difficult, but you might find a way to do it. It might be by asking someone, it might be by doing a lot of Googling, but like a solution is out there. And if you're able to persist and find it, you are more likely to keep on finding more solutions. And once you get to that point, I feel like no one can actually stop you. Like
Mm.
that mental thing that I talked about um, starts to reduce more and more and more, and you're more confident in yourself. But for the other external fact, like the other things that can be a hindrance, I didn't really experience them as much, to be honest. Like things like maybe people telling you that you're not supposed to be here as a girl, like the tech space is not for you, and
Yeah.
maybe people not even supporting you as much. I didn't really experience that as much. I
Okay.
had a lot of support from the people around me and people I was learning from. But if you were to experience that and go through that, um, I'll say that you should actually just keep at it. Like the more you do things and just stick it up to people's faces that you can actually do this thing. Like the more you show them that they're actually wrong and you can
Yeah.
actually do this thing. So it's less about proving yourself to them, to be honest, because I really don't think it's that important to prove yourself to other people. But
Yeah.
if you're able to prove yourself to your own self, like don't make them um be right. So if you don't listen to what they're saying and you're just putting in the time and doing the work, and you're basically expanding what you can do personally, um, you're going to be better for it. Even if, so a part of my journey that I didn't really speak on much was how I had actually tried a lot of things before I ended up here. So Leslie mentioned that when he met me, I was learning data science, but that was not like one of the first things that I'd actually, that was like my last
Wow.
resource. Like I tried
Wow.
every other thing, and it just didn't stick. So
Wow.
you have to be open to the fact that you might need to take a detour, you might need to stop and do something else. You might need to just keep trying that one thing if you think that's where you actually want to be.
Okay.
But like what I said earlier, and I'm still going to repeat, is that just try to keep moving, no matter how little the steps are. So from like when I was in 200 level till I finished school, I tried C++ gaming, that's using C++ to build games, using PHP to build websites, trying to
Yeah.
learn HTML and CSS and JavaScript. I'm trying to learn, what's it called? Android development with Java itself. What else? I tried Python as well. And is there any other thing I tried around that time? But yeah, I think I'm missing something. I think I tried graphic design as well for a short while.
Whoa. Okay. Interesting.
So it can be overwhelming. So like tech has so many options. So you might not know where you should focus your energy on or what you actually want to do. But not everyone will have the luxury of trying so many things and failing, to be honest. Like when you're, what's it called? When your next bag is reliant on you succeeding, no. Like it can be hard to keep on trying and failing and trying and failing.
I can
But
relate.
there are so many resources out there that can help you filter down so that you don't have to fail so much. So you might have to do some legwork and some research to figure out what are you likely to succeed in. And then another hack can be just you looking around you and seeing the communities that already exist that you can leverage. Without communities, I'm not sure I will have gotten as far as I did, as fast as I did.
Wow.
Yeah, like if not for data science community in Kaduna at that point, I don't think I would have continued learning data science and even bothering to get good enough to get a job. I might have given up and maybe tried something else. I don't know for sure, but like the community was a very good reason for me to just keep at it and keep trying. So if you're able to, and sometimes like um the community that you're a part of doesn't have to be like, that doesn't have to be your last bus stop. That can be what inspires you to actually increase the fire
Like
and
a stepping
keep,
stone.
yeah, basically, yes. So you don't have to look at everything as a destination or as the end. Just be flexible with your career and where you think you want to go. One thing that I think has stuck out for me and what I still do per time is I just allow my curiosity lead what I decide to learn. Like even outside of work, like there are things that I don't need to know for work, but I might just look into it because I'm curious. Okay, how does this thing work? How can I learn more about it and things like that? If it's something I enjoy, well, like enough, I would put in more effort into knowing more about it. If it's just okay, this is interesting, but I don't want to know more about it, I'll just probably drop it and maybe think of the next thing I'm interested in. I've rambled on and said a lot of disjointed things, but I hope that it makes sense in separate bits.
Actually, it does. And on a final note, what I'm going to ask you is, you said you just have to prove them wrong and tell them that you see you're actually wrong. So that stuff on your shirt, is that what it says? I'm sorry, you are wrong. Or what does it say?
Okay, what does this say?
I'm
Opening.
sorry.
What? I'm sorry, but your opinion means nothing to me. Means very little to me. Wow, I
Oh,
didn't know
wow.
that was what was my sweatshirt.
Exactly. So it just buttresses what you said. So it was nice talking to you, Mercy. I truly appreciate your time. I hope we could do this again. I'll probably like to do this on the Startup Grind platform because I know it's going to
Yeah.
be inspiring for a lot of people. And please do take care of yourself. Enjoy Kigali. And I know
Thank
by the
you.
time I'll be coming, you would have left. But I hope to be in that place too before the year runs out.
Yeah. It'll
All
be
right.
a lovely experience for you.
Yeah, when I'm
Thanks
coming,
for
I'll
having
definitely
me.
contact you. Thank you very much, Messi.
No wahala.
Merci beaucoup, as they say.
All right now.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.